Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Quesnel City Council meeting number 13 for Tuesday, March 3, 2026. I'm calling the meeting to order, just noting that Councillor Runge is joining us on Zoom. I will now look for an approval of the agenda, a motion for that, but we have a late item, and that is E8, Staff Report, Administration Report 32/26, Quesnel Youth Soccer Association Management Agreement, Director Norburn to report. So with that addition, Councillor Elliott, Councillor Goulet, are we all in favor? Opposed? Carried. I don't see Councillor Runge. Is he online? I don't see him here. There he is. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'd like to get a resolution to adopt the regular meeting, the minutes of the regular meeting held February 17, 2026. Moved Councillor Roodenburg, seconded Councillor Vic. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now we move to the good part, the presentation and the delegations. Firstly, we have a retirement presentation to one of our senior staff members, and this is for our recreation manager, or our retiring recreation manager, Richard Gauthier. Today, we get to celebrate Richard Gauthier, who has been a part of our team for nearly 3 decades. Richard first joined the city in 1998 as a recreation coordinator, and I think it's safe to say that from day one, he was off and running. In 2027, Richard stepped into, or maybe he ran into, the role of recreation manager, and he's been leading the way ever since. Richard has always brought dedication, enthusiasm, and that unmistakable calm and presence that we all admire and rely on. After about 28 years of service, we're sad to see him leave, but we're also incredibly happy that he's starting his well-earned new chapter. Richard, thank you for everything you've given. On behalf of all us, we wish you and your family nothing but the very best. Enjoy your retirement, Richard, and come up and receive a card that is going to become a family heirloom because it's signed by all of council. Oh, sure, you're going to want to frame this one. Thank you. Oh, we got to get there with the flags. This is going to be right over here. Oh, we're going right in front. You're right. No, the flowers aren't for you. That's okay. Here we go. Well, thank you. Perfect. Great. Good show. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Am I able to say something quick?
Yeah, you sure can.
I was hoping you would.
You have half an hour.
Okay. Yep, be patient. Got lots to say here. No, I just want to thanks for the recognition. 28 years. It's been a good time. There's been a lot going on, and I just want to thanks for the recognition, and I want to thank the city and the CRD for everything they've done for me. So I appreciate that. I want to thank a lot of the senior team that I've worked with over the years, as well as Jeff. Jeff and I work very closely together, and so I feel pretty proud of where the recreation department is right now and where it's headed, and I think it's being left, I would hope, maybe people say otherwise, that it's being left in a good seamless transition. So excited for the new manager to come along. It's just announced today who it is. Yeah, so I got grandkids in Wyoming, so that's my plan, to try to get there as much as I can. And but again, I just feel blessed, and I really appreciate the city for everything they've done for me. And thank all you guys. So good luck to you, and I'll be watching from afar. And cheers.
Microphone on, thank you. We have a delegation from the Quesnel Ambassador Leadership Program, and this is the new candidate introduction. The 2026 candidates and sponsor, and I'll call you, I'm going to name them, name everyone, but then I'll be calling you up one by one. So we have Jane Agobi, who is sponsored by Bliss. Daniela Agbodi, sponsored by William Lacey Real Estate. Kathy Rempel by James Rempel Law Corporation. Sebastian Dennis, 678 Jet Ranger Squadron. Nora Aziz, sponsored by Regency Chrysler. Katie Singer, sponsored by Brett Bursey and Company. Sophie Dennis, sponsored by Rotary Club of Quesnel. Sorcha McMillan, sponsored by AC&D Insurance. And Abigail Russell, sponsored by Reason to Run. So I'm just looking at my agenda here to make sure that I'm following the protocol. So as it says, after I introduced each candidate, please come forward to receive your rose, your sash, and your pin. And then Councillor McKelvey, oh, you're ahead of me. I thought you'd vacated your seat there, but you did. Okay, good show. All right, so now I would like to call Jane Agobi, who is sponsored by Bliss, to come up and receive your rose. So after you've received your sash and your pin and your floral, I ask that each of you stay up at the front for the group photo at the end of the ceremony. So the next candidate that I'd like to call up is Danielle Agobi, and that is by William Lacey Real Estate. Okay, and next we have Kathy Rempel, who is sponsored by James Rempel Law Corporation. And next is Nora Aziz, sponsored by Regency Chrysler. And next, Katie Singer, and sponsored by Brent Bursey and Company Incorporated. Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. Did everybody get that? Oh, sorry about it. Sorcha McMillan, AC and D Insurance. And Abigail Russell, Reason to Run, is the sponsor. And while they are doing this one, just a reminder that when the entire group is up here for their group photos, anyone from the gallery is willing or is invited to come up behind the barrier there and take pictures so that you're up nice and close. Okay, so if we could have everyone form up. Councillor McKelvey, you're part of the program here, so.
Oh, you want me?
I think so. I don't need to be in the picture because, all right, well then, I'll come on up there. I'm turning my mic off now. Check.
Look down, you've got a little room so you can face the crowd. Take a look. That's about it.
Okay. I don't know where to look. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Cassidy, and I am one of the 2025 Quesnel Ambassadors.
And I'm Osea Woodruff, the other 2025 Quesnel Ambassador.
We are so excited for the next 5 months with our incredible candidates. We get to watch them grow, learn, and represent our community leading up to our Showcase and Awards Night on July 8th and 9th. We hope to see you all there.
This year is especially meaningful, as Miss Quesnel was first crowned in 1956. This means in 2026, we will be proudly celebrating 70 years of our tradition when we announce our next 2 ambassadors. We can't wait to honor the history while cheering on the future of our program. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well done, outgoing ambassadors. Good luck, incoming ambassadors. And thank you. This is indeed a pleasure to do this presentation every year. Thank you. Okay, before I resume the meeting, I'll just make a little announcement here that we've had another agenda change, and it's not a late item. Item H3 which is bylaw number 1983, City of Quesnel Multi-Using Housing Incentive Amendment Bylaw, second reading. That is being stood down at this meeting. Okay, so moving along then, we have no items arising from previous special closed meetings. Now we move to committee reports, and that involves council and staff. And the first report falls to me. I just got to find page 9 in my agenda, and this is my report on the most recent Airport Advisory Committee meeting, which was held March 3rd. The purpose of this report is to provide council with highlights from the February 3 Airport Advisory Committee meeting. We had several items under the airport's strategic goals update. Number 1 was the subdivision update. Staff provided an update on the subdivision project, advising the committee that the city's Development Service Department was awaiting response from the referral to the MOTI, which is the Ministry of Transportation. A request for funding has been submitted for consideration by the Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee and Council as a supplemental budget item in 2026, which, if approved, will enable further work to continue on the project. Item number 2, input regarding the business plan review. The committee reviewed the airport business plan review and recommendations dated December 1, 2025, with an opportunity to provide feedback. There was discussion on the document, however, no changes were proposed. The committee was advised that an application for British Columbia Air Access Program grant was submitted. If approved, the grant will be used for the development of an airport facility master plan. Next item discussed was flight numbers. Statistics from Pacific Coastal Airlines and Central Mountain Air for November-December 2025 were reviewed. It is early since Pacific Coastal Airlines commenced operations in Quesnel, and further statistics will provide a more reliable comparison to flight and passenger numbers. At the end of the meeting, we had a roundtable. The committee was advised that the Flying Club was planning an airport day in the spring and a fly-in day in the summer. Longtime member and Quesnel Flying Club representative Fred Taylor advised that he was resigning from the committee and that this would be his last meeting. Fred was thanked for his contributions to the committee. Question was raised as to whether the taxiway project that is being incorporated, if the taxiway project is being incorporated in the city's 2026 capital budget. The committee was advised that due to budgetary constraints and pending finalization and implementation of the airport subdivision plan, construction of the taxiway is not in the upcoming capital plan. Question was raised about the status of the gazebo. There's a bit of a problem as to the Quesnel Flying Club's gazebo is finding itself on the BC Wildfire Service side of the fence due to a slight increase in the size of that area. A meeting between the Quesnel Flying Club and a representative of the BC Wildfire Service is being arranged to discuss options. That concludes my report. Are there any questions? Councillor Elliott.
Thank you for the report, Mayor. I'm just hoping that after the next meeting, maybe the flight numbers can come forward, because that'd be interesting, I think, to see.
We have flight numbers, but trying to base them on just 60 days, the flight numbers are on the rise as more people become aware of the fact that we have Pacific Coastal Airlines. So that's why we're waiting until we get more reliable numbers.
Thank you very much. That's great news.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is Committee Report, February 12, 2026, Policy and Bylaw Committee Chair, and Councillor Roodenburg is going to report on this one.
Thank you. This report is just give you a brief summary. The Policy and Bylaw Committee reviewed the revised public notice bylaw. The simplified and updated bylaw will include the minimum required public notices, while a public notice policy will state additional notice methods. There is no recommendation, as this policy will be discussed in a staff report following a few more reports. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Roodenburg. Number E3, Committee Report, February 18th, 2026, Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee, Chair Summary from Councillor Vic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yeah, as you mentioned, this is a review from our meeting on February 18th. We took our first pass on the 5-year financial plan bylaw. It's largely it's looking good the way it is. However, we've made a suggestion to add the policy schedule as an objective around the continuation of contingency planning for the future distribution of property taxes. The final schedule was also included, but will require additional updates once year-end is complete, which I believe is soon. The 5-year plan will return to the committee one more time for a review before it comes to council. Next up, we talked about a local government carbon action program reserve update. Basically, the current balance of the carbon LG cap reserve sits at approximately $247,000. The purpose of this reserve is to fund projects that advance local climate action, including energy-efficient upgrades, electric vehicle adoption, and community planning in that context. Next, we got an update from Director Bolton on the Finance Department. It's very busy, and auditors are going to be here next week. And last, we got a quick update on council initiative funds. Currently, we have $98,000 in council initiatives. And our next meeting is March 11th. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all.
Thank you for that, Councillor Vic. Any questions from council before I move on? Seeing none, then. The next item is staff report, admin report, 28/26. Forestry is a solution. Request for support. Manager Robinson to report.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So the purpose of this report is to provide Council with additional information on the Forestry is a Solution initiative and highlight how the campaign is in line with Council's concerns over the current state of the forest industry, which were highlighted in Council's recent correspondence to Minister Parmar and Premier Eby. Forestry is a Solution initiative sent Council a letter that's included in your Council package on February 23rd. This initiative was launched in January 2026 at the BC Natural Resources Forum in Prince George. Forestry as a Solution campaign is led by a coalition of forest sector organizations, community leaders, workers, and industry advocates to demonstrate strong support for BC's forest sector. The initiative highlights forestry's role in supporting affordable housing, reducing wildfire risk through active forest management, sustaining families, supporting jobs, generating public revenue, and contributing to a lower carbon economy. So I'll move on to the recommendations that Council endorses the Forestry as a Solution campaign, and that Council encourage community members to visit forestrysasolution.com to sign the petition and send a letter to their MLA, the Minister of Forests, the Premier, and the official opposition forest critic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Roodenburg is moving. Councillor McKelvey is seconding. Any discussion? I'll just add a little bit of flavor to this. I just picked up my copy today in the mail of the Canadian Logging and Sawmill Journal, and in big, bold letters on the front cover, BC Forestry in crisis. How the hell did we get here? Like, that's pretty hard, but it's true. Right on the nose, you bet. So, no further discussion then. I take the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, the next report is item number E5, report number 2926, Public Notice Bylaw Director Turner to report.
Thank you, Mayor. The community charter was amended in 2022 to allow alternative means of public notice provided under the community charter. Two options were provided. The first was continue to use the default publication requirements of publishing in a newspaper once each week for 2 consecutive weeks, or secondly, to adopt a bylaw to provide for alternative methods of publication. The Policy and Bylaw Committee considered the following principles of notice options that were provided by the Public Notice Guidance Materials document issued by the province. The notices are to be reliable, suitable, and accessible as defined. The Policy and Bylaw Committee discussed different options for the notice bylaw and resolved to recommending the minimum public notice requirements as being one in a newspaper, and also posting in electronic form on the city's website. These are the minimum requirements. Additional methods of notification may be used as council or staff deem appropriate. Additionally, it was recommended by the committee to develop a public notice policy, as you'll see is also attached in draft form. The public notice policy was directed to identify Facebook postings and additional newspaper ads to be utilized where staff deem appropriate, name the primary newspaper to be used, provide guidance on ensuring the notice timing requirements are met, and also a record management process for the public notices. Those are all included in the attached public notice policy for council's consideration. If council wishes, I can go right into the recommendation. The recommendation is that council receives for consideration City of Quesnel Public Notice Bylaw 1976-2026, and that council considers the proposed alternative means of public notices are reliable, suitable, and accessible, and that council provides the first 3 readings of the City of Quesnel Public Notice Bylaw 1976-2026, and that council adopts public notice policy CCR-31.
Okay, thank you for that. Just a procedural question to staff. This is a motion authorizing or putting up the first 3 readings of a bylaw. But also in that motion is a statement to adopt a piece of policy.
Correct.
Should they be separate motions?
It probably would be cleaner if you separated them out into 2 different motions.
I think so.
Yeah, so I'd make that recommendation.
So what we're doing now is we're voting. Do I have a mover and seconder on this? Right. I do. So what we're doing then in the first instance is to give the first 3 readings to this bylaw. So is there any further discussion? None? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now,
You have a mover and seconder, sorry. You didn't have a mover and a seconder.
I didn't have a mover and a seconder?
You moved to me?
No, this one.
Okay.
I wanted to, but he threw the question out there.
So then why don't you go back, Mr. Mayor, and get a mover and a seconder for the first 3 readings? It'll
I'll
be
do
clearer
that.
that way anyway.
I'm just going to put it in reverse for a moment here.
Okay.
Okay, now I would like a mover and a seconder for first, second, and third readings. Moved Councillor Roodenburg, seconded Councillor Vic. Any discussion? Opposed or in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now we need a motion to adopt policy number CCR-31. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Roodenburg. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. It was a little sloppy, but we got it done. Okay, now, next one is E6, staff report 30/26, bid to host 2028 NCLGA, which is the North Central Local Government Association Conference. Manager Reid to report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to seek council's support to submit a bid to host the 2028 NCLGA AGM and convention in Quesnel. NCLGA is currently seeking bids to host the 2027 AGM and convention, and there's no call for bids for 2028 currently posted, but our event coordinator has spoken with NCLGA staff, and they would welcome an early bid for 2028. Bidding communities are required to demonstrate an ability to host a minimum of 350 delegates, which fits Quesnel's hosting capacity. Detailed planning of the theme, venues, speakers, entertainment, catering, and transportation will begin about a year in advance of the event. A planning committee will be established, including at least one elected official and one staff member from the host community. It's common for municipalities to co-host with the regional district, and the event is held over 3 days, typically in May. And I'll just note as well that there's no financial risk to the city. That was in question when we brought this forward last time, but we did get confirmation that all of the risk is taken by NCLGA, and they keep any surplus as well. So we get the benefit of hosting, but no surplus, but we don't take any financial risk. So the recommendation is that Quesnel City Council supports the submission of a bid to host the 2028 North Central Local Government Association AGM and Convention in Quesnel, and that Council directs staff to send a letter inviting the Cariboo Regional District to co-host the event.
Mr. Mayor, your mic.
I'm sorry, that we put a small amendment in there referencing the fact that 2028 is our 100th anniversary. That is why, the main reason that we are doing this. And I recall that that we hosted the North Central Municipal Association for our 50th and I believe our 75th anniversary. So we're just sort of following previous examples. So are we okay with that? Okay, so now we'll call for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Elliott moving, Councillor McKelvey second. Oh, I see Councillor Runge. Thank you. So we do have a mover and seconder on a motion that's got a slight amendment. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Well done. Okay, item number 7 under reports, staff report 3126. No, we've done that one. The late item, that's what threw me. There's a late item and it's number 8, and it is admin report 3226, Quesnel Youth Soccer Management Agreement, Director Norburn to report.
Mr. Mayor, just want to jump in. We do still need to deal with item number 7, Administration Report 3126, which is the 100th anniversary.
That's what threw me. I just was talking about the 100.
Yeah,
So again,
it's actually a nice segue.
Yeah, that's a nice segue. So I'm now going to 7, Admin Report 3126, City of Quesnel 100th Anniversary Director Norburn to report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek direction from Council regarding a process for the development of a commemorative book to celebrate the city's 100th anniversary. The city was incorporated as a village municipality on March 21st, 1928, so the city will be celebrating its centennial anniversary in 2 years in 2028, as you mentioned in the last agenda item. In anticipation of the upcoming centennial anniversary, an allocation of $12,500 was included in the city's 2026 budget to develop a community history book commemorating 100 years of Quesnel. The commemorative book is eligible for grant funding through federal government's Community Anniversaries Building Communities Through Arts and Heritage grant, and would be part of a larger application to celebrate the city's anniversary year. It's expected that to celebrate the city's 100th anniversary, multiple projects and/or events may be held, which may include leveraging existing annual events as well as planning city-organized events. To be eligible for funding, events will need to align with the grant's priorities, which include engaging with the community and featuring the work of local artisans, heritage performers, and/or Indigenous communities. The grant can only be applied for in the year preceding the anniversary, so the deadline for the grant for us would be April 27th, 2027. While the city has over a year to to submit the grant application for the 100th anniversary. The commemorative book is expected to take 2 years to develop and publish, requiring some work to begin this year. Community engagement is essential to provide a balanced, inclusive historical narrative and to ensure the success of the project. Periodic stakeholder public meetings should be held throughout the process to provide input and to ensure that a broad range of perspectives are considered. The first of these stakeholders' public meetings should be held in the spring of 2026. Stakeholder groups would include representatives of Indigenous communities, government organizations, heritage organizations, cultural organizations, the business sector, education institutions, health institutions, and arts, agricultural, senior, and other community organizations. While funding has been allocated in the 2026 budget, it is not expected that much of these funds will be expended in 2026, since the initial stages of the project will focus more on community consultation, development of a framework for the project, and research. Design and printing costs for the commemorative book will depend on the size and format, but it's estimated to be approximately $33,000. It's expected that grant funding and book sales will offset some of these costs, resulting in the city share being approximately $12,500. That's sort of where that number came from. This estimate does not include research, selection of material, or writing costs that, depending on staff workload, may require the hiring of a contractor. The Museum Assistance Program, which is another grant program, may be able to assist with the costs associated with the research phases. Periodic updates and council approval will be needed at various stages throughout the process as details for the commemorative book and plans for the anniversary year are developed and estimated costs are confirmed. Financial implications: no additional funds beyond the current budget allocation are requested at this time. The commemorative book project is heritage related, and subsequently the current funding approved in the budget was allocated from the museum reserve account, and there are additional funds in that account that could be used towards this project as required. Any additional city funding for the commemorative book project or for 2028 anniversary events will require the approval of council. The recommendation is that council direct staff to schedule stakeholder and public engagement meetings to provide input into the development of a commemorative book to celebrate the city's 100th anniversary, with the first meeting to be held in the spring of 2026.
So you have a recommendation there?
Yep.
Okay, you can go to the recommendation and we'll get that on the floor.
Okay, that council directs staff to schedule a series of stakeholder public engagement meetings to provide input into the development of a commemorative book to celebrate the city's 100th anniversary, with the first meeting to be held in the spring of 2026.
Okay, thank you. A mover, is that Councillor Elliott? Was that nod a motion? And Councillor Vic? I'm happy. I wasn't aware that this was coming forward, and I've been away for a few days, so I'm pleased that this is happening, because you've heard me talking about this for several years, and I can say that previous anniversaries, there wasn't any planning or anything, and holy smokes, tomorrow's our anniversary. What are we going to do? So kudos to staff for coming up with this. In fact, I've been compiling a list of ideas, not only for the book, but for the entire anniversary celebration. Past Quesnel heritage books have been a tribute to, such as a tribute to the past, have consisted mainly of family histories. My hope would be that this centennial book would be more about the history and achievements of the community itself, predominantly the town of Quesnel and now the city of Quesnel. And so I would look for some information and actually a chapter on the evolution of the municipality itself. I must say that in my time I've generated or compiled quite a collection of past Quesnel and city logos, including the Quesnel coat of arms, which has been discontinued, but it was contrived by an artist by the name of Ursula Lalonde. Also, business and business associations would be included, right down, starting with the Board of Trade, and the original Board of Trade actually predates Quesnel's incorporation by about 10 years, and also a history of the Quesnel Chamber of Commerce. On the industrial side, the history of our forest industry, particularly the wide diversity with so many products, same for mining, agriculture, and tourism. Other aspects would be important events and service clubs, our Indigenous neighbors, the fire department, and that's another one that actually predates incorporation by 10 years. And a report and including parks and much, much more. So I'm really encouraged to see this come forward. Councillor Roodenburg.
Thank you. I'm really happy to see that this project is going to get a kickstart this year. So you're right, we are 2 years away. I would like to suggest that we look at creating a committee that starts looking at what kind of events that we'd like to have to celebrate, because they do have financial implications, and I know that we need to have our finance committee figure out, where the money comes from, how we're going to get it, et cetera. So I think the sooner that we start looking at organizing some kind of a planning committee so that we can start getting a budget together, so that we can start looking at where our funds come from, the better off we'll be for this major event.
Thank you for that, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something that I've been concerned about is the financial cost of putting on events, and I'd like to discuss an idea of encouraging local service clubs, cultural clubs, even schools, businesses, et cetera, to think about theming special events in honor of the anniversary, so that the city's not saddled with the response.
So again, I think that actually really emphasizes the point that we should be getting this committee organized now, so that we can get that, because we know that organizations take longer than one meeting to get events to happen. So, yes.
Thank you for that. Anyone else on this? Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, you did have your hand up, and so does Councillor Runge.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Roodenburg for sure. We have to be organized. Also, I see we have the deadline of April 27th, 2027 to submit for the grant application, which could help fund some of these activities as well. And I have a question for Director Norbert on that. Historically, do you know typically what the grant amounts usually vary by?
Yeah, it's interesting. We actually met with them. They're a little vague about how much money you can get. And essentially the way that it works, which is different than what is actually posted on their website, is they say that basically the applications come in, they have a pool of money, and if you're eligible, everybody gets some money. And then they just divide it up based on the number of applications they get. So they don't really have a process where some people get no money and some people get the full amount of money that they ask for. It's basically you submit your application, and then everybody else is submitting their applications. They go through them, determine whether or not you're eligible for funding, which clearly we would be for the 100th anniversary. That would meet the criteria. And then it's really just how much money do they have in the pool that year versus how many people are swimming in that pool, and then they divide it up. But she sort of indicated that, you could expect certainly no more than $40,000, and probably more likely, less than that. So I guess that gives us a little bit of an idea.
Okay, Councillor Runge.
Yes, thank you very much. And good points there from Councillor Roodenburg and Councillor Vick. My question actually, I guess, goes to Director Norburn, because one of the bullets there talks about the estimate does not include research, selection material, writing costs, and may require hiring of a contractor. what I'm hoping for is, because I don't think we have any numbers on the table for that, is that this committee comes back to council fairly often, so we're not blindsided in the future. So we get some sort of a budget that starts to come out of those committee reports with regards to what we're doing. In this case, for our the book that we're talking about, and you know, I'm happy to hear everything that's happening, but I just want to make sure that if we need a contractor, that those costs are put in front of us well before you know, the time that they're needed, because I'm always scared that we create these things. There's a lot of things here that say may require the help of a contractor, or no additional funds are required at the current time. That kind of leaves it a little nebulous. I'm a person who, I guess, likes it a little bit more black and white and say, hey, if we're going to spend X number of dollars, that's what we're going to spend. And so hopefully our committee can come to that sometime, you know, sooner rather than later. And hopefully, you know, with the grants that are available, I think we should do well. I just want to be really cognizant of the money issue.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Runge, and certainly the discretionary funds that are available these days certainly don't match the discretionary funds that were available in previous anniversary celebrations. So who put up their Councillor Elliott? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And to your point on that, I'm sure that we'll be able to get a lot of sponsors involved. I think it's a great idea to get a committee together, but keeping in mind it's going to be a new council, and I think we've got a really good opportunity to host NCLGA, and we're going to need a committee for that too. So it's going to be a busy year.
Yes, thank you for that. And every time that I've met up with the executive manager of the NCLGA, I've asked him, you know, are you still holding 2028 for us? And it's good that we're getting our application in early, because I feel very confident that we're going to succeed with that. So is there any further discussion or question on this particular item? Okay, now, oh, sorry, Councillor Vic.
So, Mr. Mayor, just a process question. So I believe there's a resolution on the floor for the recommendation in this report. Can we expand that a little bit to nudge you to create a committee to advance Councillor Roodenburg's idea? Understanding there is going to be a change in council, but I think that would be valuable to at least maybe develop a term of reference and some marching orders.
Governance and strategy. We have a governance and strategy committee meeting tomorrow, and I was just going to bring that up to see if it's something that the committee can maybe just provide some recommendations to council on that. So
that was going to be my recommendation to Mayor, is to take pass the resolution as it's presented by staff, but take staff direction back to governance and strategy and add that to the agenda tomorrow to talk about how we want to approach organization around the centennial.
So therefore, would a resolution to that effect be in?
Not needed.
Not necessary at this time.
Not necessary at this time, so I would recommend you keep focused on the resolution just around the book itself.
Yeah, all good to go. Okay, so now we move to late agenda item.
We need to vote.
What? Oh, we need to vote on that. All in favor? Opposed? I thought everybody was in favor. I didn't think we needed to vote. It's right up there with motherhood and apple pie. Okay, now we are going to move to late agenda item, and this is Admin Report 3226, Quesnel Youth Soccer Management Agreement Director Norburn to report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to obtain council approval as the manager of the North Caribou Recreation and Park Service to enter into a management and license of occupation agreement with Quesnel Youth Soccer Association for the use of the indoor sport field complex. This proposed agreement was approved by the North Caribou Joint Advisory Committee at its meeting on February the 10th, with the recommendation that the agreement be approved by Quesnel City Council. To simplify the administration and execution of the agreement, it is between the city as the manager of the North Caribou Recreation and Park Service and the club. The financial implications basically mirror those that were brought up at the North Caribou Recreation and Parks Joint Advisory Committee meeting, but the 5-year agreement includes a fee for service of $92,500 $454.95 in the first year of the agreement, with an annual increase of 1.5% in each subsequent year.
Okay, so
And the recommendation is
Yes,
that council enter into the attached management and license of occupation agreement with the Quesnel Youth Soccer Association for their use of the indoor sport field complex for a 5-year term, and that the mayor and corporate administrator be authorized to execute such documentation as required to complete the agreement.
okay, thank you. Councillor McKelvey winked at me, and I'm sure it's basically to move the motion. It is, and Councillor Vic is seconding. Any discussion? Are we all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for that. We have no requests for any items to be brought forward for council information package. We have no correspondence. And under bylaws, bylaw number 1975, City of Quesnel Council Procedure Bylaw 1975, and I was actually puzzled because it said 2025, but the bylaw was initiated in 2025. So we're looking for a motion of final adoption. Councillor Elliott's moving it, and Councillor Roodenburg is seconding. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next one is bylaw number 1976, City of Quesnel Public Notice Bylaw 1976 of 2025. Actually, that is 2026. I picked that up, and that's what prompted me to check the other ones. So it's actually bylaw number 1976 of 2026, first 3 readings, Council. So a mover. Councillor Elliott, Councillor Vic, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Mayor, sorry, we addressed that under item E5 already.
Are you saying I missed something?
No, you already did it.
You're too efficient.
Oh, it says address. I was just making sure, because I had to make that comment about the fact that it's not a bylaw of 2025, it's a bylaw of 2026. So it all came out well. And as I said earlier, bylaw number 1983, which is H3, has been stood down. Okay, I just got to go back to my agenda package here. And where did my package go? Oh, here it is. So we have no business, no new business or business arising from closed meetings. Information and question period. No changes to upcoming.
Point of order or question, Mr. Mayor?
Where's that coming from? Oh, is that Councillor Runge?
Yeah, he's just frozen.
Councillor Runge, did you have a question?
Yes. Just with regards to, we passed that motion of 2025. Do we have to have a subsequent little motion here that if we have to adjust that 2025 to 2026, that's in the record? Because we actually passed the motion originally as whatever number, I don't have it in front of me, sorry, 2025. If it's 2026, do we officially have to pass a motion to say if we have to adjust any numbers for that year there?
My opinion is that doesn't affect it, but is there anyone from staff that wants to wade into this one? I thought about it, and I thought, really, it's the final adoption that speaks volumes. Okay, go ahead, City Manager.
Yeah, I would actually redo it and get it absolutely buttoned down, just simply on a side of caution on bylaws. We want to make sure we're squared away as we possibly can. So why don't we redo that one with the 2026 amendment and redo the first 3 readings? So what I would recommend, Mr. Mayor, is invite a motion to redo that bylaw with the change to 2026 first 3 readings, and then it will come back for its final adoption at the next council meeting.
Okay, is everyone clear on that? We're going to redo first, second, and third with that typo corrected from 2025 to read 2026, and then final adoption will come back at the next regular council meeting?
Yeah, and let me speak to this just quickly. Because it's only first 3 readings, you could come back with that amended bit and piece in the final adoption. Like, it probably doesn't make a difference, but I have been warned many times to be very cautious with bylaws. So,
well, when I first noticed it, I thought, oh, am I being picky here or not? But maybe I'm not being picky, and maybe it's good that we are going through and doing this properly. So, therefore, now where are we going here with the motion that has been passed? Do we strike that from the record, and if so, how do we do that? I hate coming up with...
I think we can just...
Yeah, it's
Go ahead, Councillor Runge. I didn't see a hand up.
He's trying. He's frozen again.
Just to have a motion here that to adjust the dates of 2025 to 26 as per, as per noticing it late in the meeting.
I apologize, but I'm having trouble with your audio. It's very bassy. So what I'm going to do...
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. It just took us a moment. The bylaw is correct. It's incorrect in the agenda. So we're okay with the motion that was passed. So I'll take the heat for that one.
Thank you, Tanya. You're indeed a ray of sunshine in the darkness here, so well done. Okay, now we can move ahead. And so, where was I? And no changes to committee appointments. Announcements and events. Go ahead, Councillor Roodenburg.
Thank you. This Friday is International Women's Day, and I know of 2 events that are being hosted in Quesnel. One is an invitation to women to attend the International Women's Day open house at the Quesnel Women's Resource Center. Starts at 11 o'clock, and it's open to women from the city and the CRD. They will be providing a light lunch. The other event is being hosted by the Quesnel and District Chamber of Commerce. It will be taking place on March 6th at the Billy Barker Showroom. Tickets are $25 a person. Doors open at 5:30, appetizers at 6:30. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Well, you can see by my humble attire here that I'm happy that I know we're all happy that the Quesnel Kangaroos are in the lead now, leading 1 game to 0 in the Eastern Championship, and that the game number 2 against Smithers, they went to Smithers on Saturday, and actually I was out snowmobiling, and I had to get satellite contact so that I could get the score, and I succeeded in doing that. I think they won 5-3. And so now there's the Smithers team is coming to Quesnel. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock Saturday night, and if necessary, game number, or the 3rd game in that best-of-3 series would be held on Sunday. So go, Roos, go.
The River Rush, too.
Yeah, is the River Rush playing this weekend?
Yep. They're in the playoffs as well, man.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so seeing no seeing no other announcements and events, I'll now go to gallery questions. Anyone from the gallery wish to come up? And all right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved Councillor Vic, seconded Councillor Goulet. Are we all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.